Hello everyone, this is Durga from Midas India office. So I welcome you all in this today's session. So today, as you have idea that what we are going to see, which is a steel bridge. So we are going to create a model, we are going to analyze it and we will design it as per IRC 24. Okay. So now before starting this session, let's just see the basic introduction to the modeling of the steel truss bridge. Okay, because there are various aspects in the modeling as well as the boundary conditions as well, right? So let's just I will take you to the presentation and we will see few points which would be useful while modeling the steel bridge. Okay, so yeah, so this is the introduction to the modeling of steel truss bridge. So we will see which project we are going to use in the session, how we are going to model, and also some basic idea about the bridge trusses, how the load is going to transfer. Okay, and some points to remember while we are modeling the steel bridge, steel truss bridge. Okay, so let's just start with the bridge truss. Okay, so how the load is transmitted, it will be from the deck to the stringer beams and the stringer beam to the floor beam is nothing but we will use as a cross girders here, and stringer beams are the main beams, right? And then those floor beams are supported by the two parallel trusses, and these supporting trusses are connected to the top and bottom by the lateral bracings. Now if this is not sufficient or adequate enough, there are still this structure is not stable, then for that additional stability one can provide the portal or the sway bracings, right? So now let's talk about the elements and its degrees of freedom. So what elements we are going to use? That first is truss element. Okay, as you already aware of, truss element is the uniaxial. That means it will carry either tension or compression. So it will only undergo the axial deformation, and so the it has only 3 degrees of freedom, which is 3 translational degrees of freedom. Okay, and there is another element which is the beam element, which you all familiar of, that it will carry the tension, compression, that means axial forces, shear forces, bending, as well as the torsional deformation. Okay, so you can see these diagrams. So here you can see ECS is nothing but the element coordinate system. Okay, because as you know, FEA software has almost every software has 2 different or 3 different kind of Cartesian or coordinate systems. One is global, one is local, and the third one is user defined. Okay, so local means the elemental local axis, ECS. GCS means global coordinate system and UCS means user coordinate system. So ECS will depend on the direction in which we are creating element. Okay, if we create element from node number 1 to node number 2, then the direction will be in this direction. If it is a column element, then that vertical direction would be the x axis, which is parallel to the global z axis. Okay, so it is as simple as that. Okay, so this is going to be the axial forces, and for the beam element it would have 3 degrees of translations as well as the 3 degrees of rotation. So in all there are 6 degrees of freedom, and for the truss element it is the 3 degrees of freedom. So while connecting truss element to the beam element, we has to make sure the stability, right? Now coming to the project, so this model that we are going to create today, which has the span length of 88-meter, height is going to be the 9-meter, and the total width of the bridge is 13.5 meter, and excluding the crash barrier it is the 12.5 meter. Okay, okay, so these are details about the material properties, which steel of the grade is used in this project. So in this project we have used Fe410WB. Okay, that means this row. Okay, so this is the structural grade of concrete. Okay, and sorry, structural grade of steel, sorry. And now coming to the cross sectional details, these 8 sections that we are going to create, which are 2 chord, that means 2 box section, which is one is top chord and bottom chord, one is bracing section, and the remaining would be I sections. Okay, whether it is diagonal elements or verticals, that means hangers we can say, then cross girders, top horizontal elements, as well as the main or the stringer beams. Okay, so you can see this is the tabular data for the sections. So diagonal and the bracings are we are going to create as a truss element, and remaining will be the beam elements only. Okay, so while creating or while connecting them, we have to make sure that there should not be intersection of uh, truss elements. Okay, we will come back to that point later. So there are almost these three and the last two. So there are five I section, two box section, and one which is bracing, which is of combined section, right? So the bracing would be created as a two T beams. Okay, this would be created as a two T beams as a combined section. Okay, if any section is not possible to create, you have to take it to the program through the section property calculator using AutoCAD DXF file. All right. Okay, so yeah, I'll come back to this slide later. So let's go back to the software. So now what we will do, we will define one material property, and we will define out of 8, here we will define 3 section properties, which one is I section, one is box section, and one is combined section. So you will get to know how the sections can be created in the software. Okay, so if you remember this, yeah, so we will use this vertical section. Okay, so this vertical section we will use one we will create let's say top chord, and one we will create this bracing, which is the combined one. Okay, so let's go to the which tab, properties. Okay, so by the name of that tab, it would be easily you can easily understand what it is meant by properties. Will properties tab will is of course nothing but the definition of materials or any properties related to material like a creep, compressive strength, or the section properties, or any properties related to section, that means stiffness, or reinforcement in the sections or tapered sections. Okay, so by the name of that tab you can easily understand what is mean by that name. Okay, so now let's go to first material properties. I'll click on add, and I will select FE410WB as I have shown you from the material properties, and then I will use the section. Okay, so before adding the sections, let's change the units first, because we have to change the units for the section. Okay, because we are right now in the meter. So now let's add one section which is vertical, which would be I section only, right? So let me choose the user, and I'll enter one by one. So this is 800, then 450, then 16, and 25. And this would be I vertical section. I'll click on apply. And the next one is the box section. So I will change this from drop down menu. So let me choose the box. I'll give the name, let's define the top chord. All right. So this would be top chord, and I will give the dimensions, so which is 835 by 900, and the thickness would be 25, and this center to center C is nothing but the center to center distance. Okay, so which is nothing but 825. Now you can click on apply, and the last section is combine. So I'm using this 2T web open I type 2, because this is these two angle sections connected with the plate is nothing but 2T sections itself. So I will give the dimensions, and let me give the name first. So bracing, and the dimensions. So this is 161 by 260 by the thickness, this is also same. Okay, so this is how the sections can be created. Even if this is a combined section, we can do this here using the 2T web open eye. But if you feel like this is some section is there and you cannot create in the software, then you can import it through the AutoCAD drawing, AutoCAD DXF. Okay. Okay, so this is how the sections can be created. Now let me open the existing section file so that we can continue with the remaining sections as well. All right, now I will just take you to the presentation again. Okay, so yeah, now for the two sections, which is these are main stringer beams and these are cross girders, right? So these have the eccentricities, okay, or we can say offsets. Okay, so these offsets shall be entered in the under the section properties tab while creating the section. So one has the offset of 412.5 mm, and this stringer beam has the offset of 987.5 mm. Okay, so the same you will find it here. I have already one file with the, okay, so let me close the first one. Okay, so we have all these 8 sections with us. So now let's see how we have given the offsets over here. So let's see first cross girder. So I have given the offset here as a center bottom. Okay, so as I said, this is 412.5 mm, which is from the extreme center bottom fiber, center bottom, right? So this is how you can enter the offsets of the section as per the drawings you have. Okay, so now if you see, this has the offsetted from the center bottom. Okay, these are the nodes for the cross girder locations. Okay, and these nodes are for the stringers. These nodes are for the stringers, right? So now come back to this. So now let's start with the modeling. So we will try to model it using the wizard. Okay, now this wizard are from the base structures, like we can create beam, plate, column, or truss in fact. Okay, so we will use, and when you say wizard, it is always the structure tab. Okay, remember this, whenever one says the wizards in the Midas Civil, it is always in the structure tab. So I will go to structures and go to truss. So I will choose the first type, and this would be my diagonals. Number of panels here I am giving as a 6. Okay, and the length is total 88 meter. As I am going to choose the symmetric option, I am giving it as a 44. Okay, and the height is, as I said, 9 meter. So if you click on the show dimensions, it will show the half span length is 44, height is 9 meter, and in between every cross girder it has a division of 44 divided by 6. So it is almost 7 point something, right? So now we'll go to edit. We do have the vertical sections. Right now we will go with the diagonal elements, and then we can later assign the respective elements to the respective sections. Then insert. So you can insert basically this insert point is given when you are creating some structure uh, uh, to the existing existing structure. Okay, that means if you have any rectangular section and you want to insert it somewhere, okay, any beam element or any truss element or any column element, then you can give that specific insertion point. But right now we will insert it at 00 location only. And beam and releases, we will assign it at the later stage while we are dealing with the boundary condition, because beam and releases are a part of the boundary conditions where we release either bending or axial forces or shear forces, right? So this is the part of boundary condition, and we will assign it manually later. So right now I will select all and just press, sorry, just delete and okay. Okay, now let's click on okay. So this is our basic structure of the truss is created. Now let's manipulate with this and create the structure that we want to create as per the drawings. Okay, so I will select this and delete it. Now let's create the diagonal elements at both the ends. So when we are dealing with manual modeling, always come back to the node element tab, and then here you can start with the modeling. Okay, so first is nothing but the create element option. So I will go to the create element, type would be truss, section I am going to assign as a diagonal, and I will click in this nodal connectivity box, and from first point to the next point. So one element is created, similarly first point to the next point. So automatically the elements would get created when you click consecutively on the two nodes, one node and second node. Okay, now let's click on close. Now first let's assign the respective sections to the respective elements, so it would be easier for us to deal with them. So the top one is the top chord, drag and drop, or the second method is right click and assign. So bottom elements would be bottom chord, so I will right click here and assign. Okay, now if you want to see one section, you can just activate it, go to the side view and go to the hidden option. Okay, so here you can see the box section. Right, now let's activate all. Okay, now these are verticals, but these vertical elements also have the diagonal elements with it. Okay, so now let's select in between the diagonal elements, and then we will assign the diagonal elements to this. So to see whether respective section or corresponding section is rightly assigned or not, so you just can double click the section to view. Okay, now it is assigned to all vertical elements, diagonal would be all the diagonals, top chord and the bottom chord. So our truss is one truss is ready. Okay, but before translating it, let's see whether how the connections are there. So I will use the shrink option to view. Okay, now you can see this image, right? So let me take you back to the presentation. Yeah, so now here always we have to make sure that this stronger axis shall be perpendicular to the loading direction. Okay, so I will change the orientation of this I section, that is the stronger axis shall be perpendicular to the load direction for this section, that means for the diagonals as well as for the vertical section. Okay, that means in this Midas civil we use beta angle for the identification of the orientation. By default, if you see while creating elements, if you see this, by default beta angle is considered as 0. Okay, so this orientation is 0 by default. Now we want to change the orientation, that means we have to change the beta angle. Now this is parallel to the stronger axis is parallel to this loading direction, but we have to make it as a perpendicular. Okay, now what I will do, I will select both the sections. You can press Ctrl and select, right click and select. Okay, and now we will use the change parameter option, because beta angle is also a parameter of the elements. Okay, so I will go to change parameters. Now in the parameter type you will see lot of things like section id, thickness id, that can be done from anywhere using even properties tab also. But two more important things are there: element local axis, uh, reverse element local, and align element local, and as well as the element type. So these three are main important things. Element type, that means you can change it from truss to beam, beam to truss, tension only to beam, or vice versa. The second thing is reversing the element local direction or aligning it. So this would be useful when you are dealing with the plate elements. Okay, because when you manually do or generate the plate, it is possible that all the plate elements or the all the plates do not have the same local direction. And as you know, local direction would be important while extracting the results as well as the application of loading. Okay, when you apply the load, if the directions are reversed, then the loading directions would also get reversed, right? So you can align them by using align element local. Okay, now let me go back to element local axis, and these are frame type only. I will use the beta angle as a parameter, and I'll give 90 degree to them. Okay, now while I click on apply, you just look at the screen so that you will realize how it's going to change. Okay, so look at the screen, right? So now it's perpendicular. Okay, so yeah, so I will again come back to this location, and I will open the second tree menu now, and I will double click the vertical elements, and now I will change the type of vertical elements from truss to beam. Okay, now program will give the general warning messages in this window, because now imagine if you have generated the beam elements and have given the beam and releases to the beam, and then you have changed that beam to truss. So truss cannot have the beam and releases, right? So that is why it gives the warning as some boundary conditions could get deleted. So this is generalized warning. Okay, so right now we will ignore this and we will close this. Now we can just come back to the original view. Okay, now our one side section is completely ready. So now let's translate it. So I'll select all and go to translate elements option. I will translate it with a distance of 13.5, right? You remember it, the total width is 13.5. And while deciding the translate elements command, do not go to translate nodes. Okay, translate nodes and translate elements are different. If you go to translate nodes, only nodes will get translated, and when you translate elements along with elements, by default nodes will get created at those locations. Okay, so now I'll click on close. Now we have to create the cross beams at the bottoms and the top horizontal beams at the top location. Okay, so I'll come to one side view and I will select only nodes. Okay, so what command we are going to use here? Can you guess it? uh, we have to create line element from this single point. Okay, so this is nothing but the extrusion. So you must be aware of this command. Now a lot of sessions have been carried out in this webinar series, so you must be aware of this extrude command. So this is similar to AutoCAD, you can say. So extrusion is nothing but creating a line element from a single point. Okay, if you have already line element, we can extrude it to make a plate element, and if you already have plate, we can generate it as a solid. So point to 1D, 1D to 2D element, 2D to 3D. Okay, so we will use node to element, node to line. Type would be beam because these are floor beams or cross beams, and the section would be cross girders. Okay, so here y distance it is 13.5 only single time. Right now again I'll go to side view. I will select the top location and I will use the top horizontal section instead of cross girder. The distance would be same, everything would be same. Okay, now it is connected. Now the last part of this is creation of stringer beams as well as the bracings. Okay, so let's first create the stringer beams. For that we just need the cross girders on the screen. So I will double click them to select and click on active. Okay, okay, now only cross girders are present on the screen. So what I will do, I will first divide the first cross girder so that it will get divided equally. or the dimensions that we have with us, and from those divided locations we will use extrude command to generate the stringer beams along the x-axis or along the longitudinal direction. Okay, so now if you are not able to visualize it, let me just do this procedure so you will get to know. Now I have selected this cross girder first. Now I'll go to divide option. So the width is how much? 13.5. So I will use unequal divisions because first distance is different and the in between distance are 333 meter. Okay, so first distance is 2.25 and the remaining distances would be 3 meter. So if you see, this is 9 meter plus 2.25. Okay, so 11.25 and the whole distance is 13.5. So the remaining is also 2.25. So the end distances are symmetric and the mid 333 meter are symmetric. Okay, so no matter which direction the beams are aligned, from this end to this end or from top to bottom, the element local direction here doesn't matter because the divisions are symmetrical. Okay, now I'll click on apply. So you can see the nodes are created. So I will divided this beam, right? So what we will do, we will select all these elements, sorry, nodes, and we will use the extrude command to extrude it to make a stringer beam or a main beam. Okay, as you already know. Yeah, and one more thing, this is node selection box, this is element selection box. So either you can type the node numbers or element numbers to select it. So this is also one way of a selection. Okay, now I will go to extrude, as you are now quite aware of this. So I will use the stringer beam, the type would be beam, and here it is given as a 44 by 6. So why 44 by 6? And the number of times 12. So the, as if you remember, 44 is the half span length, right? And the 6 are the number of panels. Okay, so till half span length, 44 divided by 6 would be each panel length. So to cross verify that, you can go to query nodes, from query and this query option and query nodes, or you can press F4 on your keyboard. So if you check the distance, it is 7.333, that means 44 by 6. Okay, so this is 12 times because we have to generate till end. Okay, not till the half portion, and I'll click on apply. Okay, now we have to make sure everything is intersected, so I will select all, go back to node element and will intersect. Okay, so to check, you can see everything is intersected right now. Now before activating all, let's create the bracings. Okay, so I will go to create elements, truss. The bracing should be the truss elements, right? Now I'll go to the section and bracing. Now here you have to check off this node and element option. Why? Because when we are dealing with the truss elements, and if we are intersecting the truss elements with each other, there could be instability or singularity warnings. Okay, so first let me take you back to the presentation. Okay, now let's take the example of this. Okay, at this location, these are bearings connected with the horizontal beam and the top chord. Okay, so I have zoomed in this condition. So here everything is intersected and proper beam and releases were not given. So at such location, there is no vertical support as well, right? So being the truss element, it will not take any shear force, even though there is a vertical load due to the dead load of member itself. Okay, so on at this location, you may get the singularity warnings. And for the intersection part, now let's say these two bracings are intersected. So at this location also you will get the errors or the instability warnings. Okay, so you have to make sure you have to check off that intersect nodes option. So for the bracings, if you see here, the bracings will not be intersected with each other. Okay, it will be intersected with the cross girders only and not with each other. Okay, so let's go back here and now let's create the bearing bracings. So from this to the center and from center back to this. So if you are not able to snap this point, you have to go to view tab and check on your snapping options. Okay. Now let's translate this and not waste our time creating the same elements. Okay, so you can go to translate option, translate elements. Make sure you are translating element and not node only. So 44 divided by 6, and number of times I'm doing it only 5 because we will mirror it for the other side, because this is symmetric bridge. And why 5 not 6? Because 1 is already present, right? So click on apply. So if you mistakenly did for 6, just make undo or delete that extra one. Okay, or there is undo button option also. Now let's select the previous entities and as well as the select sorry select the previous one. Okay, and now use the mirror option. So I will use the mirror at 44 meter and click on apply. Or you can mention this point. You can just go here and click here and it will take 44 meter by default by using that click option. Okay. Now the bottom bracings are created. Now we will go to top horizontal and top chord. So you can select one, press control button, go to top chord, right click and active. Okay, now these are 10 panels, not the 12 panels. Okay, but distance would be same, that is 44 by 6. So let's go to create elements. Element type is truss. The section is bracing. Make sure you are checking off these options and you will create the bracing like this, from this center to this center, also from this to this. Okay, now you will just copy this or translate this to the remaining part. So this is 44 by 6. Now instead of 5 I will enter 4 because there are only 10 panels here. Okay, now select previous and select recent entities. Append to current selection, yes. So including the previous and selected entity and recent entities, it will select all the things. Okay, and now I'll go to mirror 44 and apply. Okay, okay, I haven't selected this, I guess. So let's select this and apply. Okay, now everything is created. Now let's again go to the cross girder part and bracings and active them. Okay, now I will just first make inactive the top portion. And now I will go to filter and make it Y, and I will make sure that it is divided at this location. Okay, intersected. So I'll go to intersect and click on apply. So if you see this, now it is intersected only at this location. Okay, and similarly we will go with the top chord, top horizontal and bracing. Active them. Okay, now you can see this is already intersected but not at this location. Okay, so what I will do, I will select the Y, select all and click on apply. Okay, now it is intersected. Now I will activate everything. Okay, now our bridge is ready, like modeling is ready, right? So bracings are assigned, cords are assigned, stringer beams are done, floor beams are assigned, the verticals are assigned, everything is done now. Okay, if you see the truss elements, you can see only the diagonals and bracing parts are truss. If you double click the beam, the remaining would be the beam elements. Okay, now let's move for the boundary condition. This is also one important thing because we are going to assign the beam and releases and the boundary condition. Let's first assign the boundaries and then we will come back to the beam and releases. Okay, so I'll click on the supports. So what I will do, I will select only the bottom portion, or it is also okay. Okay, so let's assign this. Uh, so I will select the one node at this location. Let's zoom in so it is clear. Okay, I will assign D all. So now you must be familiar with this terminology. D all means displacement in all direction. R all means rotations in all directions. All means X, Y, and Z. This W is for the warping degrees of freedom, which is mainly for the curved structures. Okay, so D all, that is translation or displacement in all direction. So this is being simply supported. I am giving it as a restraint in XYZ for translation, and apply. Now as you have already been being following the sessions of the webinar series, so you must be aware of how we can assign the port PTFE bearings and how the stiffnesses can be given, how the simply supported situation can be replicated here in the midas like real scenarios. Okay, so in this direction I am making it free in the Y direction. So usually why this is done, because mainly for the temperature stresses, because as you are aware of, like temperature stresses are not only dependent on uh, its type, that means whether it is fall or rise, uh, right, it is also dependent on the boundary condition. Okay, so that's why we usually do this. So in the Y direction I am making it release, so apply. And now let's come back to this. At this in the longitudinal I'm making it free, so it is restrained only in the vertical, and at one location we have to make it uh, restrained at Y also. Okay, so 4 support conditions I have given. Now let's go to beam and releases. So what I will do, I will activate the stringer beam, and then top horizontal and vertical, and select it and activate it, right? Okay, so now let's first do with the verticals. Okay, none. I'll select only vertical portion, and we'll give the pinned condition. Okay, so now before assigning the pinned condition, let's talk about the beam and releases. Okay, so what are beam and releases? Now when two elements or two or more elements are connected at a node, okay, so at that node the stiffness relative to the degree of freedom of those 2 or 3 elements would be reflected, right? So so element and release can release this stiffness at the connections. Now what I mean by this, one truss element and one beam element is connected at the same node, then beam elements have 6 degrees of freedom, and our truss element has only 3 degrees of freedom. Okay, so uh, there is a relative degrees of freedom, there is relative stiffness for these degrees of freedom. Okay, this can be released using beam and release. Now this function could be applied for beam as well as for the plate elements, and this is usually given or specified in terms of element coordinate system. Now before giving these releases, one should be very careful and should have that understanding of entire structure, the understanding of behavior of that structure or particular members, because if we are going to change the stiffness using these releases, it could produce singularity errors at those nodal locations if they are not properly given at proper or specific location. Okay, so one has to have the understanding of the entire structure. So in our model, how we are going to provide the beam and releases? We are going to give the releases for the 3 parts. First is hangers, second is cross girders or floor beams, and third is top horizontal beams. Okay, so for the hangers, that means for the vertical elements, that is nothing but it will be only axial carrying forces, so we will make it as a pin beam and releases. That means I end and J end, it will be pin releases. Now I and J, now due to the previous session you must be knowing this, I end is my start end, J end is my end node. Okay, Now start node and end node means if you have first node and second node, and if you are drawing element from first node to second node, then the 1 would be our I node, the 2 would be our J node. So I and J is the software terminology. Now you have used it in case of tapered beam, so you can compare that. So I is the first end, J is the second end, and we will be giving to the top horizontal and floor beams as well. So floor beams are connected to the hangers, so the stability and force transfer we need to maintain it. So we will give there either fixed pinned condition or pinned fixed condition. It will depend on which end, whether I end is connected or J end is connected. Accordingly we will give it. Okay, so let's first make it pin vertical. Okay, so pin and pinned, that means pinned for I, pinned for J, so that's why pinned fixed means pinned condition for I and fixed condition for J end. Okay, now apply. Now what I will do, I will only uh, select top horizontal and cross girder and activate. Okay, okay, now otherwise let's go by one. So let's first do about the top. So I will select this. So if you want to select the direction, you can go to element and local direction. Okay, so this is I end and this is J end. Okay, so this is also I end and this is J end, right? So at this location, sorry. Okay, so we have to make it fixed it at I end, pinned at J end where the hangers are connected. Okay, apply. And now at this location also, this is pinned fixed. Okay, so pin would be this end, fixed would be this end. That means we are not releasing anything at this end, but we are releasing my and mz, that is bending in y and z, bending about y and z at this nodes. Okay, and apply. Similarly, let's just do it for cross girders. So I will select only these elements and will give which condition, fixed pin, right? And apply and select this and let's give pin fixed and apply. Okay, now beam and releases are also given, so let's check off this local direction and activate all. So if you want to see the beam and releases, you can just right click and display. Okay, if you see, this is done, but if you want to see it in which it is released and where it is not released, then you have to go to boundary option, scroll it down and give beam and release digit instead of symbol. Okay, so it will explicitly give which is fixed and which is released. Okay, now I will just check off it. So okay, now boundary is also done. Now let's come back to the load. Okay, now let's start with the static load cases generation. So I will first give the self weight, the type is dead load. Then I will give the wearing coat or wearing course, and the type would be dead load of wearing surfaces and utilities. Then the crash barrier type would be dead load of dead load of component and attachments. And then the slab load. Okay, and the type would be, I'm keeping it as a let's say the dead load only and add. Okay, so now let's start with the self weight. Now you are very it is easy to assign the self weight and you are quite aware of it. So I will go to self weight, give the z as -1 and click on add and close. Self weight is assigned. Now let's talk about the wearing course. So wearing course has a thickness of 100 mm in this project, so 0.1 meter, right? And the density of wearing course or green concrete of that matter I'm considering as 22 uh, kilonewton per meter cube. Okay, so not green concrete, I am talking about the concrete, wearing course concrete. Okay, so now let's come back to element and choose the wearing course. Okay, so for that matter, I am going to select the stringer beams and activate it. Okay, along with the bottom chord, active plus. Okay, now if you want to see the distance between them, I'll just click on query nodes. Then the distance between these two is 2.25, and in between this is 3, 3 and 3. Okay, so and if you see this one, this is 2.25, and if you minus the 0.5 meter of the crash barrier, it is 1.75. So the varying course I'm going to enter for these two beams, that means for this beam and this beam. Okay, I'm going to enter it with the half distance of this end and half distance of this end, right? That means this is 1.75, not half, because I'm going to consider the load only on the main beams, right? So 1.75 from this end and 3 by 2, that is 1.5 from this end. So this is 3.25. So I'm going to give the distance 3.25 into 0.1 into 22. So this is all arithmetic. Okay, so whether it is addition or subtraction or multiplication or division, okay, it will consider that. Okay, now I'll click on apply. Okay, now if you see, this is 7.2, it is applied. Okay, if you want to see the exact figure, you will go to load value, and okay, so it is 7.15. Now talking about the internal beams, for this beam it is half of this distance and half of this distance, that is 1.5 plus 1.5, that is total 3. So I will change 3.25 to 3, and I will select the internal two beams and click on apply. So that is 6.6. Okay, now this is, I'll click on undisplay. Now let's come back to the crash barrier. So crash barrier would be applied on these two locations. So how what is crash barrier? Area I am considering here as 0.4 meter square. So 0.4 into 25, which is 10. Okay, so I'll click on apply. So if you right click and display, this is 10 kilonewton per meter load is applied. Now let's go to slab loading. Okay, so I will choose the slab load. So the slab thickness here is 220 mm. Okay, and the density is 25. Okay, so how we will enter? Minus first distance is first we will apply on the external beams, external stringer beams, so which would be 1.75 plus 1.5 would be the total effective area. Okay, so this, which is 3.25 distance, into 0.22, that is 220 mm into 25, and click on apply. So if you display this, this would be 17.875. Now similarly on the middle stringer beams, instead of 3.25, it is 3, and click on apply. So this is just I'm showing you the way how different loads can be, even if the intensities are different as per the location of the beams, the loads can be easily entered. Okay, so this is how the procedure should be. Okay, or you can calculate first the load intensity and directly enter it over here. That is no also not a problem. Okay, now the static loads are done, so I will activate all and undisplay this. Now we will come back to the moving load. Okay, so let's start with the moving load. I will first choose the code as India. Okay, and the traffic line lane, because these are not plates, these are lines. So for 12.5 meter clear carriageway width, which is greater than I guess 9.6 and less than 13.1 meter. Okay, I have actually code opened with me. So let me, yeah. So this is less than 9 point, greater than 9.6 and less than 13.1, which is our 12.5 meter clear carriageway width. So our total moving load combinations would be 2. Okay, so either there could be 3 lanes of class A, and one combination would be class A plus 70R. Okay, so let's go back here and add the lanes accordingly. Okay, so before adding these line lanes, okay, let's make a group of the cross girders for the cross girder distribution of the vehicular load. Okay, so here I had already made the group, but let me show you again. So what we will do, I will select only cross girder option. So I'll go to section and I'll choose the cross girder. Okay, and I will make a structure group, give the name cross girders, and will assign them. Okay, so now it's assigned. Now we will go back to the traffic line lanes. I will add it. Let's give the name first. So this is CA1. Now eccentricity calculation. Now you must be aware of all these eccentricity calculation, how it should be done, right? So how it can be done? Now let's first on the calculator. So first is class A1. Now the eccentricity shall be given considering the crash barrier width as well, right? So I am giving 0.5 plus 0.15 clear distance plus 0.25 half wheel width of class A vehicle plus 0.9 half center to center distance of class A vehicle, so which is 1.8. So I will enter minus 1.8 over here. Span length is 88 meter. Vehicular load distribution is cross beams, and I will choose it from this distance, this point to this point. Now it is added and I'll click on apply. So in the similar fashion you have to calculate the eccentricities for the remaining one. So just I'll show you one more. So 1.8, now the remaining distance is 0.9 plus 0.25 remaining half wheel distance plus 1.2 is the clear distance between two vehicles plus 0.25 plus 0.9, so 5.3. So instead of 1.8 I will enter minus 5.3. Why minus? Because we are entering these dimensions considering the reference line here and we are entering the distance above it. So if you see this image, the distances entered above the reference line shall be negative. Now it is 88 meter and cross girders. Okay, so everything remains same. I'll delete this table and I will enter the reference points, added, apply. Now let me just change it to CA3 with the eccentricity. Okay, so what will be the eccentricity now? It is minus 8.8. Everything will be same and I will choose this point to this point. Apply, and now the last lane, which is 70R. Now here the wheel spacing would be different, 1.93. Everything will be same and eccentricity would be changing. So how it is calculated? Now for this lane I have considered the CA1 lane, because after all we have to combine this class A lane plus 70R for the final moving load application. So which CA lane I am considering here? The first one, CA1. So what was the eccentricity, if you remember this? 1.8. Okay, so let me calculate it. 1.8 plus 0.25 plus 0.9 plus 1.2 is the clear distance plus 0.43 would be half wheel width of 70R, which is 0.86. So divided by 2. Okay, 0.43 plus it would be 1.93 by 2. Okay, so minus 5.545. Everything will be same now. Let me just enter again the reference line. Okay, so that's it. I'll close and close. Now the vehicles, add standard. First is class A. As you already know, if you want to give instead of IRC you have to provide railway loading, you can go to IRS and actually choose the vehicular type, whether it is broad gauge, and then the vehicular type which is 25 ton DFC loading, etc. Okay, so right now I'm going with IRC6 class A, apply, and similarly 70R. So the procedure will be very same. Instead of the vehicular load that you are going to choose for road bridges, you have to select the railway bridges load, which is the railway loadings. Okay, otherwise the procedure will be very same. Now let's make the moving load cases. Add. So first is 3 lanes of class A. Okay, I have checked off auto live load combination. Add. So I will choose class A, minimum 1 and maximum 3. So I will choose all these 3 and select them. Okay. And the next one is one lane of CA and one lane of 70R. So I will check off this. Go to add. I will use first 70R. Apply. And now I'll change it to class A and select CA1. Okay, so this will be now combination of 70R plus class A. Okay, this is how you will create the combination of different vehicular loading. Okay, now I'll close this. So now you must be aware of this, right? Because we have also covered this part in the first session also. So minimum maximum number of loaded lanes, that means it will create different load combinations. First it will run only on a single lane. It could be any of the 3 lanes, first lane, second lane and third lane. Then it will keep the loading on 2 lanes of the out of 3 lanes. It could be first and second, or second and third, or first and third. Okay, so different combinations are there. So accordingly it will generate the envelope of load cases. Okay, so usually you will be able to see that the moving load results would be of envelope type, either maximum, minimum or all. So how these maximum and minimum results are calculated, from which data? From this data, like it will the software will create influence line diagram for every load combinations or every moving load case that we are giving, depending on minimum and maximum lanes, and it will create the envelope of maximum results and minimum results. Okay, so make sure when you are comparing any of the softwares, the methodologies should be same, right? So because here in MIDA Civil, it influence line diagram is used to run the moving load. Okay, moving load. Now it's done. So I'll activate all. So everything is done in our system. Okay, so let's go to analysis control and moving load. As we have given the type, it is by default steel, so we don't have to worry for that. And normal plus concurrent stresses as well as the combined stresses we want to see, and then click on OK. Okay, so now the last step is to analyze it. So I'll click on analyze. Okay, now let's check the results. So before that, let's generate the load combinations. So I'll go to steel design, auto generation. So I'll go to IRC6 limit state design. There are no wind loads. Right now we haven't applied any thermal loads. And click on OK. So accordingly it will generate many load combinations depending upon what is leading, what is not. Okay. So you can see this along with the factors. Okay. And in spite of this, if you want to manually give your combination, then you can generate it easily. Let's see, let me generate it. Let's for moving load, I'm giving envelope as a case, and I am giving 3 lanes of class A plus 70R. So I am generating sorry, let's add it. Okay, This is the final addition of the moving load. Okay, so this is how you can change the envelope, add to envelope or envelope to add, and you can even give the factors accordingly. Okay, so if you are not going by this at auto generation using code provisions, you can generate your own combinations as well. Okay, you can make even the spreadsheet, go to spreadsheet form, and as per this format you can make your own excel sheet and just copy paste it. Okay, that is also one easy thing. Close. Okay, now let's check, start with the reactions. Okay, let's check for the self weight. I will check on the lesion to see the results in the text format, so I will make it decimal instead of exponential, so it is easier to see that. Then deformation, as I always say, displacement contour is more beneficial when we are analyzing structure. So let's check for the slab load. You can see the deformed shape as well. Okay, and then we will go to forces and beam diagrams, and let's check for the let's MV max 3 lanes of class A. Okay, we are getting the 9 at 95 element location. Okay, now for that you can go to moving load tracer and go to beam forces and select the 95 and click on apply. Okay, so this is the vehicle position for that critical bending moment. Okay, you can check for the same with 70R combination. So if you go to 70R class A plus 70R and apply it, it is the same 95 element only. So I'll go to moving load tracer and beam forces 95 and click on apply. So this is the CA plus 70R combination. Okay, and now let's see the truss forces as well. So I'll go to truss and I will check the, let's say, combination. So I'm going to see the combination, let's say first combination itself. And if you want to see only tension, then only tensile elements will be displayed, and if all, it is displayed for all. Okay, so you can see the tension and compression, both the forces, it will be visible. If you go for only compression, then only compressive forces will be displayed over here. Okay, so this is how the truss forces can also be displayed, and same results you can go here and go to forces and generate the sheet for yourself. Okay, so you just can export to Excel or just copy paste it. And similarly you can see the stresses. So stress, if you want to check, you can check for the, okay, so you can check it through the, let's I'll Newton mm. So you can check the stresses here for the truss or the beam. For the beam there is option for the combined stresses as well. Okay, so you can see the axial plus bending in Y and Z both. Okay, so this is how. Similarly you can see the self-weight diagram, right? So this is how the results can be extracted. So let me back it to kilonewton meter, and now let's start with the design. Okay, so as you know, we are doing IRC 24 2010. It would be the steel design. Okay, so steel design and modified steel material. So you can see this is already there. What is the tensile strength, what is yield strength. Okay, then you will go to steel code design and steel code check. Now remember, here there are two things. One is steel code check and second is steel code design. So what steel optimal design. So what steel optimal design does is it will iterate. Okay, it will iterate and find the optimum section for our structure, and the iteration will be based on, that is strength verification will be based on the stress analysis results. Okay, and steel code checked, what it will do is, it will propose the satisfying section from the library that we choose. Okay, now let's see how it is done. So I'll go to steel code check. Now yeah, yes, okay, so diagonal, top chord and cross girder, these are not. So I will select this section and I'll go to change. Okay, so here you can select the library if you want to select only IS section of, or if you are using any other section, or you can even give the range from this height to this height you want to select the section. For the B1 also you can give the range for the width. So you can give the limitation for the your section sizes as well. Okay, so you can just if you want to select only IS and search the satisfied section, then the list will come over here. Or if you want to go, sorry, or if you want to select any other section, then you can just search. And also it depends upon the, okay, so this is right now the diagonal, top chord, so these are different sections. So first I will choose only cross girder. Okay, because these are two I section and this is a box section. And if you see, the combined section is not here because you can design the steel section from the database tab only. Okay, so combined or any user defined section from SPC that you have generated as a value section, then you must remember the design will be carried out only for the sections that have been defined under your database tab. That means, let me show you. So you will go here, properties, section properties, add. So this database tab. Okay, if you define the value and if you import it from the SPC using section import section files, these sections you can however you can extract the result analysis data for it, but the design is not possible in the software. Okay, so you have to make sure of that. Okay, now what I will do, I will select only cross girder and design for that, so it will take lesser time. Okay, now if you want to change this, you can go and select the library and search the satisfied section. Okay, if you see, you can see there is these are not passing. So let me change, just to show you, let me change the section database. Okay, so this is how it will do the iterative iterations to find the respective satisfied section. Okay, now how to change it, let's select this and change and close. Okay, now I'll select this, go to update, and I will select all the change properties, send it to here. So that means it will uh, change the existing section with the new dimensions. Okay, and you can go to reanalysis, and this is how the reanalysis can be performed. If any section is not satisfying the particular thing, then you have to check, you have to manually enter that section from the database. Okay, if the data in that database it is not present, then you have to manually change the section. Okay, and you can go to rechecking, still it's not passing, then again you have to change the section. Okay, so this is how the procedure can be done. Yeah, so this is it. This is it for the today's session. So now we can discuss, if you have any uh, doubts or any queries regarding this particular topic, then we can discuss them. Okay. So yeah, thank you so much for attending the webinar, and I hope this was informative to you. Thank you.